In this video, I'm going to lay out the top 5 reasons that motivated me and my family to move to Cambridge, Ontario. So this video is for you if you are living anywhere outside of Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo, anywhere in or outside of Canada for that matter, and you are thinking of moving to, Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo, basically the Waterloo region. I'm going to lay out top 5 reasons that prompted me and my family to, call this place our home. In fact, it's not as simple as it may sound in many cases. We were living in Mississauga at that time. And when we, came to a decision to buy our first home, we initially started with Mississauga. We wanted to stick around to the Greater Toronto area because both at that time, myself and my wife, we were both working there. So we wanted to stay as close as possible to our work. But as we started hunting more into the the marketplace, looking for that first home, and oftentimes, many of you might be able to relate. As a first-time home buyer, you often don't have a very flexible budget. We were kind of tight on the budget. We only had so much money that we can put towards our first home. Although things were not as expensive and crazy as it is in the past few years, but still, it wasn't as easy as we would like it to be, being in that first-time home buyer shoes. And then as we started, exploring Mississauga and some outside towns, we were like, let's go further down on 401 and see what we find. And we came to Milton. Milton was still expensive for us, at least. So we are like, okay, let's go further down on 401 and see what we end up finding. And that's what, after Milton, the biggest town that will connect to 401 will be Cambridge. I mean, you can say Guelph, but you will have to take Highway 6 to get to Guelph. So it's not really directly connected to 401. So that's how we actually ended up in Cambridge. The first and the foremost was that Google map thing that pulled up Cambridge for us going further west on 401. And we're like, okay, you know what? Let's explore. The commute to our work, even within Mississauga on Highway 10 with that traffic, it was just around 25 minutes each way. So at that time, if I take 401 all the way to Cambridge, it used to take us about, on an average, without traffic, 40 minutes. So we are like, okay, maybe an additional 15-20 minutes of commute, but we get to live in a townhouse that is freehold in Cambridge within our budget, versus in Mississauga, you will end up finding a condominium, that too of a smaller place, with a monthly condominium fee. Those were the things that kind of prompted us to say, okay, you know what, let's try out Cambridge. And to this date, since then we have moved to Kitchener, and even to this date, on any given day or in future, I can tell you, we don't see ourselves living Waterloo region, at least not going back to the Greater Toronto area, because we do love the community feeling we have here, the suburban quiet lifestyle we have here, and that's what I'm going to get into it. So stay tuned and let's get right into it. Hey, if this is your first time to this channel, welcome. And if you want to know everything about living in Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo and surrounding areas, then subscribe below and tap on that bell for notification so you can be the first to learn about the current market in Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo and the surrounding areas. My name is Dharmik Dixit. I'm a local real estate agent serving Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo and the surrounding towns. I do get calls, texts, emails, even Zoom call invites from people just like you looking for help in making their move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, or they are even thinking to explore these areas and want to talk more about it. So whether you're thinking of moving in 9 days or 90 days, you can always reach out to me. Give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or you can schedule a Zoom call. All the information you will find below in the description. I'll be more than happy to help you make a smooth move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and the surrounding areas. So the number one reason that prompted us to move outside of the Greater Toronto area is the affordability of housing. And you will be amazed. I mean, if you are someone who has lived in Greater Toronto area most of your life and have not explored housing, cost and prices anywhere outside, east or west for that matter, you definitely want to explore those areas a bit and see if it does fit your lifestyle, your work commute and everything else. But that's what we started doing, and what we figured out is, okay, the same house. So let's say within our budget at that time, we could afford a freehold townhome, 3-bedroom, 2-washroom in Cambridge, versus in, where we were in Mississauga, we could only afford a condominium at the most, 1-bedroom plus den, that too with a monthly condo fee around $500. Now, fast forward to today's market, if I were to pull up any of the real estate data sites like Zolo.ca, something like that, on an average cost of a 3-bedroom, 3-washroom townhome that is freehold in Mississauga, that would cost you in today's value somewhere around between 850 and 900,000, depending on the house and the neighborhood and those factors, of course. But the same thing in Cambridge or Kitchener or Waterloo for that matter, the similar house that is freehold with the 3-bedroom, 3-washroom townhome will cost you somewhere around 700,000, at the most 750. So that's what I mean. There is a huge price disparity between, Waterloo region and the Greater Toronto area. So somewhere around 150 to 200,000 price disparity is what you will find. And that's why if you have looked into housing in Greater Toronto area, and if you're gonna look for houses, let's say on west side in, Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, or on the east side, places like Ajax, Pickering, Oshawa, you will find a huge price gap into what you can get for the same budget. So that's what actually prompted us that, hey, you know what? We might be able to bite the bullet with our commute. At that time, we did not have our young one. Of course, if you have a young child who needs to be looked after, the commute can be a bit tricky, back and forth. But, we did not have that. So that gave us some added flexibility to kind of, make that call and call Cambridge our home. Another reason why many families, including ours, picked Cambridge over some of the other parts in Waterloo is partly due to the fact that you do actually enjoy that close proximity to the major towns which are around it, right? So let's say if you moved here from Greater Toronto area and you still want to stay connected with the social circle that you build up, your friends and family, or let's say, you are moving here, but, it's going to take some time for you to find work locally. And in that transition period, you're still going to have to commute back to, let's say, Milton or Mississauga or even Brampton for that matter. So what happens is, living in Cambridge, you do have almost direct access to Highway 401. Again, depending on where you are in Cambridge, but many parts of Cambridge are directly connected to 401. And many parts of Kitchener also have direct access to 401 as well, or a short proximity to the Highway 401. So that actually gives you an added advantage if you have to visit friends or family. I'll lay it out for you. Like we were in East Hespeler neighborhood of Cambridge, which was literally almost 3 minutes away from Highway 401 in either direction. So, for us to, drive down to Square One in Mississauga was roughly around 40 minutes without traffic. If you had to head down to, further west along QEW, places like Burlington and Oakville, because I did have family there, it used to take me around 45 minutes to head down to Oakville. And let's say if you were to head down further to Niagara, anywhere around that region, that's going to take you somewhere around hour and 15 minutes, at the most to hour and a half, of course without traffic. So that's the best part of it. You don't lose out your social circle. You're not completely secluded in a much smaller town and much further away from those bigger towns where you may have developed your social circles. Your work might be there, and in that transition period you still might have to commute there. That's exactly what we did. Me and my wife, we were both working in Mississauga, but we still made it a call to move to Cambridge. Well, mind you, we did not have a little one at that time, but it could be a lot more challenging with the young family, like having a child to take care of and having to commute, let's say 40-45 minutes each way. So nonetheless, that's what the beauty of it. Close proximity to some of the major cities that you have around it. It's give you an added advantage and more motivation to kind of move, because you will always be able to stay in touch with those people that you left. Another reason why we actually loved Cambridge is because it does give you that great mix of urban and suburban lifestyle. So on one hand, it does give you that small town suburban quiet lifestyle while being close to all the great things and places that you can hang out and explore. So in terms of things to do, there are plenty of things to do all around Cambridge, not just within Cambridge, but across the Waterloo region. So if you were to head down to Kitchener or Waterloo, where some of the bigger malls are, it won't be too far of a commute for you. You could always go there. In terms of dining, obviously Cambridge has a few options. as you head to further down to Galt as well. But even outside of Cambridge, Kitchener, and more importantly Waterloo will give you plenty of other dining options and various and the diversity of those options is mind-blowing. So in most cases you may not have to escape the Waterloo region for things to do. I can tell you this region as a whole has plenty of things to offer. Like I said, whatever your hobby or passion you might be into, you definitely will have things to do here and explore here. But hey, at the same time, if you do decide to escape the Waterloo region altogether, you could always head down to, like I said earlier, those bigger towns are not too far off, and you could always spend a day there. So that's the best part of it, is that overall the town of Cambridge does give you that sense of community. People are very friendly, helping, and there is that sense of community and bonding within the community. And that's what we actually enjoyed during our time in Cambridge, and we still do enjoy as we currently live in Kitchener. But ideally, definitely any town in Waterloo region, I would arguably say it's a great place to actually raise a family on any given day. So this was probably one of the most important factors for us in our decision making at that time, at least, is we found that Cambridge, and more importantly the Waterloo region as a whole, has its own thriving, self-sustaining work economy, and that is very diverse in nature in comparison to some of the other small towns outside of the Toronto area. If you take example for Hamilton, Oakville, Burlington, all these regions have their own work economy, which is growing. But at the same time, you will find that many people actually have to commute outside of the region to find employment. In contrast to that, in the Waterloo region, you have Cambridge that is primarily driven by industries like manufacturing, supply chain, logistics and warehousing, transportation, and trades. Now, as you head further down in Kitchener and Waterloo, it's completely different ballgame. It used to be predominantly manufacturing town, Kitchener, but that has changed, since the early days of Blackberries, even to present day. Within the Waterloo region, it has its own great startup ecosystem. So many IT and some other industries, service industry is also thriving here in the region. So, work economy is fairly diverse. My wife was actually commuting there to Mississauga. The plan was for her to find employment here locally, at least within the region or within the half-an-hour commute. So that's what you will find. Many people living in Cambridge, Kitchener, and Waterloo will be commuting in between the three towns, or maybe Guelph at some point to find employment or for work reasons. But you will not find that many people actually gonna have to commute to Toronto or the Greater Toronto area on a regular basis, because they are not able to find work, because majority of those people have been able to find work. As per the recent data published by the region of Waterloo, about 80% of the population living in the region and that is actively employed have been employed within the region. So only about 20% of the people are commuting outside of the region to find employment. So that actually speaks for itself as to how self-sustaining and thriving the work economy here is. And finally, if you are an outdoorsy person who loves to be out and about in the nature, by the water or trees or the green space, well, I can tell you Cambridge will not disappoint you. It was, this came to our surprise that, once we moved to Cambridge, there are lots of conservation areas along the banks of Grand River. Although we don't have a lake here, it's pretty landlocked, but we do have a Grand River. And along the banks of Grand River, all over the Waterloo region and beyond, you will find great biking, hiking spots, fishing spots, picnic areas, playgrounds, all the things that you can do, to enjoy the nature out and about. There is actually a railway trail that goes along between Cambridge and Paris, which goes about 18 kilometers, and it's an old railway line which is now designated for hiking, biking, some great lookout points all along that trail as well. So Shades Mill Conservation is another great example. It's a 300-acre conservation area along the banks of Grand River, offering you plenty of spots for hiking, biking, picnic, outdoor playgrounds, things like that. So, this is just Cambridge, but as you head down further in Kitchener and Waterloo, there are many other conservation and natural areas which will offer you plenty of that outdoor recreation. So, like I said, for us, because we were from outside of the Waterloo region, it came to a complete pleasant surprise to us. But hey, if you are that person who loves to be in nature, I can tell you the Waterloo region as a whole, and Cambridge particularly, will not be a disappointment for sure. Now, these are some of the many great reasons why you should consider moving to Cambridge or parts of Waterloo region. But if you want to check it out yourself and explore further about the region, other places like Kitchener and Waterloo, well, be sure to check out my other videos which are on the channel. And if Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, any of these towns are on your radar and you want to be the first to learn about the current market and what's happening here, be sure to subscribe below and tap on the bell for notification so you can be the first to learn about the current market in Kitchener, Cambridge, Waterloo. Once again, whether you're thinking of moving in 9 days or 90 days, be sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or you can actually schedule a Zoom call as well. All the information you will find below in the description. I'll be more than happy to help you make a smooth move to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and surrounding towns. Until next time, well, I do hope to show you around town.